obey the command of the party Central Committee, serve the people, and bravely defend the country.
In northern China there lies a place called ZHUHAI, meaning heart in Mongolian. A grand military parade was held here to celebrate the 90th anniversary of the founding of the Chinese People's Liberation Army. Taking a new look after reforms, the Chinese military is proudly advancing into a new era, While the Chinese people followed the military parade, the world's eyes were on the Chinese military. In his address at the 19th National Congress of the Communist Party of China, Xi Jinping, General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee, stressed that China would adapt to the trend of a new global military revolution and to national security needs, upgrade its military capabilities, and see that, by the year 2020, mechanization has been basically achieved, IT application has come a long way, and strategic capabilities have seen a big improvement. China would also see that, by 2035, the modernization of national defense and armed forces is basically completed, and that by the mid-21st century, the People's Armed Forces have been fully transformed into world-class forces. This People's Army started its arduous journey from Nanchang, and has ever since gone through the magnificent and glorious years of revolutionary struggle. Through this, the Jinggangshan spirit, the Long March spirit, the Yan'an spirit, the anti-Japanese invasion war spirit, and the Xi-Bai-Po spirit were nurtured and have been handed down from generation to generation. Such revolutionary spirit is inherited like blood and genes, and has become the collective memory of the Chinese nation. It is a source of enlightenment for the Chinese military, a powerhouse of military development, and the beacon under which we steadfastly and confidently march forward into the new era. In 2018, at the new historical starting point, the PLA, remaining true to its original aspiration and keeping its mission in mind, will thoroughly study and implement Xi Jinping thought on socialism with Chinese characteristics for a new era, comprehensively realize Xi Jinping thought on strengthening the armed forces, and endeavor to achieve the party's goal of building a strong military in the new era, and make the PLA a world-class force. At 7:36 a.m. on 1st of January 2018, the PLA Guards of Honor and the PLA Band, for the first time, performed their duty at the national flag-raising ceremony at Tiananmen Square. Starting at midnight the same day, the commanding structure of the Chinese People's Armed Police Force was adjusted, so that the PAP no longer reports to the State Council but the Central Military Commission. At a ceremony on the 10th of January, Xi Jinping, General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee, the Chinese President, and Chairman of the CMC, conferred the flag to the PAP and gave instructions. We have reshuffled the Academy of Military Science, the National Defense University, and the National University of Defense Technology in order to build a world-class military research institution, a comprehensive university focusing on joint command, and an institution of higher education, thus bringing about new prospects in military personnel development and military science and research. We steadily promote reform in military policy and institution. The newly revised Regulation on Civilian Personnel in the Military has been issued to reshuffle the system for posting civilian personnel, marking a step forward in reforming the institution on employing civilian personnel in the military. The newly revised PLA Regulation on the Military Interior Service, Regulation on Code of Conduct, and Regulation on Military Formation have been issued as well, laying the legal foundation of standardization of the Chinese military in the new era. Over the past few years, bold and resolute reforms in defense and military fields have proceeded swiftly and steadily. In major areas, historic steps of modification have been taken, and historic breakthroughs and accomplishments made. As a result, the mechanism, structure, pattern and feature of the People's Armed Forces have been thoroughly renewed. With the new era starts a new journey. On the 3rd of November 2017, Xi Jinping, General Secretary of the CPC Central Committee, the Chinese President, Chairman of the CMC, and Commander-in-Chief of the CMC Joint Operations Command Center inspected the CMC Joint Operations Command Center. This clearly demonstrates the CMC's commitment to implementing the principles espoused at the 19th CPC National Congress and focusing on fighting and winning wars. On the 3rd of January 2018, at the very first ceremony opening the annual military training and drills, Xi Jinping gave an order to the whole military.
我命令全军各级要强化练兵备战鲜明导向，坚定不移把军事训练摆在战略位置，作为中心工作，抓住不放，抓出成效。
As China and its military develop, the world force for peace grows. Since the 18th CPC National Congress, the Chinese military has, in seeking win-win cooperation, been actively providing public security products and services to the international community and exploring a model of international military cooperation with Chinese characteristics. The Chinese peacekeeping troops in Lebanon have cleared tens of thousands of landmines and explosives in the Death Belt along the Lebanon-Israel border, amazing the world with zero casualties and the China speed, and demonstrating China's strength with practical actions. Since 2008, the PLA Navy has deployed 29 convoys to the Gulf of Aden and waters off Somalia, which escorted over 6,500 Chinese and foreign vessels, guaranteeing their complete security and the security of themselves. The task forces are therefore hailed as the most reliable guardian in the Gulf of Aden. On the 1st of August 2017, China's first support base overseas, the PLA support base in Djibouti, opened, which will enable China to better fulfill international obligations, including conducting escort missions in the Gulf of Aden and waters off Somalia, and humanitarian aid. In 2017, a PLA Navy fleet paid a visit to Sri Lanka, only to find that the country was suffering a severe flood. The Chinese officers and sailors extended a helping hand immediately, dispatching a medical team and handing over relief materials. This fully demonstrated the deep friendship between the peoples of China and Sri Lanka. In July 2017, the Chinese military dispatched the PLA Peace Train medical team to Laos for the first time. The team provided free medical services to 3,627 person times of military personnel, 432 person times of military families, and 2,477 person times of local residents. They conducted 16 surgical operations and handed out over 20,000 boxes of medicine. They also provided medical institutions of the Lao People's Army with 1,000 sets of medical equipment, devices, medicines, and training appliances, opening a new chapter of pragmatic exchange and cooperation between the two militaries. In April 2018, the first Defense Ministers' meeting of the member states of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization since the organization's expansion was held in Beijing. The defense leaders exchanged views on the current regional security situation and prospects for world peace, discussed ways and means to enhance defense and security cooperation among the member states, and agreed that the SCO should support building a community with a shared future for mankind with strengthened defense and security cooperation. Over the past year, The Chinese military has participated in a great number of joint drills, training exercises, and military competitions. These include the joint drills between the Chinese and US militaries on humanitarian assistance and disaster relief, the joint naval drills between China and Russia, the joint training exercises between the air forces of China and Pakistan, and the international military competitions. Such events not only provide training grounds to the PLA, but also boost friendship and mutual trust, and demonstrate the PLA's will and willingness to safeguard world peace and regional stability through cooperation.
中国始终是世界和平的建设者，全球发展的贡献者，国际秩序的维护者。中国军队始终是维护世界和平的坚定力量。
别担心，一会儿我带你过。
这团是我去吧，咱们这毕竟没有失误的记录。
到现在为止，这个国家的战火已经连绵了7年之久。可以说，在这7年之间，叙利亚的人流离失所，风餐露宿，有时候甚至还要承受着半夜导弹轰炸的危险。再加上各方势力的不断渗入，叙利亚问题早已经变得极端复杂。然而，正是由于犯罪事件频发，很多人长期是处于饥饿状态的。而这个时候，黑市就出现了，它遍布在叙利亚的每个角落当中。所谓的黑市，其主要目的也就是趁火打劫。他们不仅贩卖高金额的食物，而且也进行着贩卖人口的恶毒勾当。而其中的畅销品，自然也就是叙利亚女性。毕竟面对着战乱局势，很多人表示无可奈何，便将自己的妻子、女儿，或者是家族的其他女成员带到黑市上出售。因此，在叙利亚，女人地位是并不值钱的，毕竟她们连自己都养活不了，更别提要照顾孩子了。所以很多时候，在这里1000人民币左右就能够买到一个女孩子，甚至还会有一些女人到黑市上自己出售自己。话说回来，长期的战乱使得叙利亚人民的生活苦不堪言，同时也让他们的精神处在了一个长期紧张的状态下。正是因为这样的双重压力下，叙利亚人民实在是出于无奈，才会将这些花季少女们送去拍卖。毕竟能够将她们买下来的人，至少可以给他们一条活路。然而，如今叙利亚的解放行动进行的还算顺利，因为在俄罗斯的帮助下，当地越来越多的城市被解放了。对此
When you envy China's life, do you want to live here forever? Below, I have provided you with some convenient reference information. 4 billion. Therefore, China is a country that does not need immigration, but China is a democracy. There is now a serious imbalance between men and women in China. According to public data, men who are married at the appropriate age are 34 million more than women. China's aging population of 180 million people said the Chinese government to liberalize the second childbirth policy, but under economic pressure, most of them only give birth to one. Combined with the imbalance between men and women causing the middle part of the price. The price of the bride price in commodity house, Chinese people, the house with the residence, the form of marriage of the limousine. There are some sayings that the mother-in-law is selling her daughter, and this daughter is not yet maintained, and the mother-in-law's family's expenses are paid out. As far as I know, China accepts the most foreign girls to marry in China: Henan Province, Anhui Province, Hunan Province, Jiangxi Province, Guangxi Province, Yunnan Province, Shenzhen City among them. The most accepted foreign girls are married to China, which is Henan Province, China. As early as 2008, they had already married their wives from Vietnam through intermediaries. Vietnam's local wife has a population of 100,000. There are more than 20 countries in Ukraine and Africa. Myanmar, China's Yunnan Province and Guangxi Province are close to Vietnam. Myanmar and China, because of their geographical advantages, their marriage has been recognized and protected by two countries. However, in the past few years, the husband of a foreign girl, because the girl who married her wife became a wife, they will work very hard to create conditions for the wife and future children. After that, there will be great efforts for their husband and wife to provide some help to the parents of the girl abroad. Girls also help the Chinese life and learn Chinese because they live in China with the help of their husbands. They will live very well. The following is an international publicity section that I understand as the government of the People's Republic of China, entrusted by the National Television of the People's Republic of China, CCTV, is abbreviated from China Central Television. 5. China has the most popular. Second, the analysis of the development trend of the imbalance between the male and female population in China. The cumulative effect of increase in the sex ratio at birth in the past 20 years has been revealed. According to the sex ratio at birth in the 1990s, the current number of males in the 0 to 20-year-old population is roughly equivalent to the population of the 20-year-old in 3 age groups. The effect has been considerable. If the abnormal sex ratio at birth is not effectively curbed, the excess male marriage will become more and more serious. In countries with a small population base, the shortage of female population can be solved through transnational marriage and female immigration. However, in a country with such a large population base in China, the shortage of female population makes it difficult to find a way in the form of international immigration. There is a saying that the shortage of female population can solve the problem of marriage in the age group of marriage ages through the expansion of marriage age. However, in the case of the growing gender ratio of infants and young children, this structural and cumulative imbalance makes it difficult to imagine the feasibility of a solution that the male population can find a spouse in a female population younger than her age. Because the population conflict between the big brother group and the little brother group for competing for spouses will intensify. 1. The crime rate is rising and the marriage relationship is unstable. Marriage gender squeeze is an external impact from monogamous families. Since a period of time, under the influence of the market economy and the appreciation of exchange value, pan-commodity concept, extramarital affairs and third parties have increased their participation. The divorce rate has continued to rise and the stability of traditional families has been threatened. Social criminal cases have increased. If the sex ratio at birth is not corrected, it will breed more of these immoral and ugly social phenomena. The basically disappearing sale in marriage, child marriage exchange, and trafficking in women will re-emerge and indirectly generate sexual violence, crimes, incest. Serious social problems such as social mentality distortions increase the risk factor of family and social instability. 2. Men grab women's rice bowls. Employment pressure. People are the unity of producers and consumers. The sex ratio of infants born increases and the sex ratio of working age population increases, which will have some impact on production, exchange, Distribution and consumption. Male labor employment will become more difficult, and the male labor surplus and employment gender squeeze will be more serious in the next decade or two. Some women occupy industries with absolute advantages, such as textiles and services, and must not be allowed only by men. 3. Elderly women will be reduced, and home-based pensions will increase, starting from the fact that China's population aging characteristics and social and economic development are relatively lagging behind the time difference. We can only take the road of combining social pension, family pension, and old age workers self-supporting at 3 support. In view of the current high sex ratio at birth, the elderly sex ratio will be higher after 40 years, and the number of elderly women will be reduced. The status of family pension will be strengthened in the above-mentioned 3 support. Increased. 4. The population is severely shrinking. The shortage of men and women will bring serious obstacles to population reproduction and cause serious population shrinkage, because the reproduction of the population is mainly achieved through the mother. The shrinking proportion of women in the social population will inevitably lead to a decline in the population's reproduction capacity. How do foreigners and Chinese get married and get a permanent residence permit from the People's Republic of China? Couples reunion application for permanent residence permit first. The application conditions. 1. Any foreigner who meets the following conditions may apply for a permanent residence permit for foreigners who have a husband and wife reunion. 1. Marriage with a Chinese citizen having a permanent residence in China, or a foreigner who has obtained permanent residency status in China. 2. The marriage relationship lasts for 5 years. 3. Staying in China for 5 consecutive years, staying in China for at least 9 months each year. 4. Have a stable living security and shelter. 2nd, the application procedures. 1. Submit the completed application form for permanent residence of foreigners in China, reunion of couples. 2. Submit your valid passport or a copy and a copy of your passport. 3. Submit the health certificate issued by the Domestic Health and Quarantine Department, and the health certificate issued by the Foreign Health and Medical Institution must be certified by the Chinese Embassy or Consulate. 4. Submit proof of foreign criminal records certified by our foreign embassies and consulates. 5. Submit the temporary accommodation certificate in China or the People's Republic of China residence permit or People's Republic of China residence permit document, which must be registered in China when you live, or the house lessor will declare for you. Residence registration, otherwise the lessor will be punished by the government. 6. Submit a certificate of residence registration for a Chinese spouse who lives in China, or a foreigner's permanent residence permit for a foreign spouse. 7. Submit the marriage certificate issued by the Chinese Civil Affairs organ. The marriage certificate issued by the Foreign Marriage Institution must be certified by the Chinese Embassy or Consulate. 8. Submit the certificate of economic source of the notarized applicant or the economic guarantee certificate of the spouse. The above-mentioned certificate issued by the foreign institution must be certified by the Chinese Embassy or Consulate. 9. Submit a house lease or title certificate. So your best protection in China. In fact, you will be born to your child as soon as possible after marriage, because even if you divorce your spouse or your spouse dies, you can take care of your child in China. At the same time, your spouse's parents also, because you take care of your child to provide you with the greatest help. The government street office will do its utmost to provide convenience for you, because the Chinese household registration is obtained in a way. The parents of one Chinese may have Chinese descent. The parents of the child can declare the Chinese household registration for the child. Your child is born in China from birth. Your living conditions are good. You can stay in China in the name of taking care of children. The Chinese courts and government will support you to take care of children. because you are the most beneficial to the growth of children. You are the mother of a child, so you don't want to have a child. The child is not familiar with you. How can you take care of them? When you choose a good husband, the form of 100 family names, just one forms a population of several million. Your husband's family may be 2,000 to 2,000 population. It is possible that a family will take care of your life. Every aspect of life will be helped. You can't choose your birthplace. You can choose to live with me in China. So you like me? If you want to live with me, please contact. You can't choose your birthplace. You can choose to live with me in China. So you like me? If you want to live with me, please contact. I am a sales manager and maintenance engineer at a factory, and I will help you in your hometown according to my ability. Can also provide development advice for the development of your country. If you want your country to develop faster, I suggest that you introduce more sisters to China. Learn about China's advanced technologies and achieve more exchanges and easier trade trust. Your country has joined China's Belt and Road development and established a better diplomatic relationship with China in order to apply for help and interest-free loans. Interest-free loans or assistance to the Chinese government. In this way, the voice of the Chinese democratic countries against the government will be smaller, and the pressure on the Chinese government will be smaller. For example, the Chinese government often provided free aid and interest-free loans to African countries, and the Chinese people often questioned the Chinese government and did not solve China poverty issues. The NPC deputies also made the same call, because the people in difficulty have no way to understand. China has a large population, and some areas of the private sector may be more effective than the Chinese government, or the government and the Chinese people. a sales manager and maintenance engineer at a factory, and I will help you in your hometown according to my ability. Can also provide development advice for the development of your country. If you want your country to develop faster, I suggest that you introduce more sisters to China. Learn about China's advanced technologies and achieve more exchanges and easier trade trust. Your country has joined China's Belt and Road development and established a better diplomatic relationship with China in order to apply for help and interest-free loans. Interest-free loans or assistance to the Chinese government. In this way, the voice of the Chinese democratic countries against the government will be smaller, and the pressure on the Chinese government will be smaller. For example, the Chinese government often provided free aid and interest-free loans to African countries, and the Chinese people often questioned the Chinese government and did not solve China poverty issues. The NPC deputies also made the same call, because the people in difficulty have no way to understand. China has a large population, and some areas of the private sector may be more effective than the Chinese government, or the government and the Chinese people. If your country can't produce even qualified agricultural products, I hope my peasant family will be born to me. I can also provide you with advice on the production of eco-organic food. I am coming and participating in your past. I hope that my future will have you and we will live together. I will take good care of you, and you and your career will be my first priority. Please contact